Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Dave Yoster. I'm the president of the Managed Service Providers Association of America. Today, we are joined by Rick Mancinelli from C3 Complete. Rick, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Doing great, sir. Thanks for having me.
Rick, so you are an MSP, right?
We are. That is a core component of our business.
And whereabout are you guys based?
So our home office is here in Delray Beach, Florida, so Southeast Florida. And we have additional offices in Miami, Stewart, Orlando, and we just recently opened an office in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Well, that's awesome. Before we get into all of that, and before we get into the whole Florida, because I know that you guys are being hammered by some of the storms there lately, right?
Sure.
Tell us a bit about you, who you are, what is your role, what do you do with the company?
So, yeah, I'm the original founder, so employee number one. My background is kind of diverse. I started my career as a software developer. Moved into more of a networking and management role later on, and then ultimately went out on my own as a consultant. Mid-90s, so it's been a little while now, I've sort of grown the practice since then.
So you mentioned something that you were a software developer, so you've obviously been in the industry for very, very long, and you obviously have a lot of experience, right? What led you from being a software developer to now a president of a company?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. It was a fun journey. I started developing software at the age of 10, actually.
Wow, okay.
I started writing code. I had sales in 7 states by I think age 14. As I made my way up into early college years, I started working on some projects, one-off projects for individuals, and had a lot of fun doing it. And one of those projects led to a network implementation. And that was something new for me, and it was way back in the Novell NetWare days, and really enjoyed it. So I kind of took to it and pursued that, and that led ultimately into management roles later on.
I think when people hear software development and playing around with code, people automatically think, oh, you're a hacker. You are hacking systems, right? Do you remember what one of your first experiments were with code?
I do, actually. So dating way back to the Commodore 64 days, the first piece of code I played with that I recall was a game called Lemonade. So if there are any old timers on, they may remember it. But basically the game was about, it gave you an air temperature and humidity, and you had to set the price of the lemonade to maximize your profit. And I was really curious, how does the game work and how is it figuring this out? And sort of just kind of went from there, and that became writing my own games and little things like that. So.
Okay, awesome. And your MSP nowadays, I know you also deal with cybersecurity as well. And a lot of companies nowadays are so concerned about cybersecurity and hackers, which at the end of the day is all code, right? Have you any experience, or have you ever delved into the cybersecurity part of code and ethical hacking?
I have, and to me, it's interesting because I think on the security side, to be a good security professional, I think you have to have some sort of background on the coding side. You have to have some systems experience, understand, both at the operating system or hypervisor level, but also on the networking side. And the piece that I think is missing for some folks is the human side of it, right? The psychology or sociology of hacking, right? So now, depending upon who you believe, 3 out of 4 hacks begin as biological, meaning they come in through a human rather than through a system. So combining some expertise across those 3 areas, I think, is huge, because that's the only way you can put up a very true defense.
Sure. And obviously moving from, that era of playing with code, because I think a lot of us have done it, I myself have done it as well, moving from that era from code to now running a business, How have you transferred some of your obviously very experienced skills into your company?
So, again, it's been a journey and not without mistakes along the way. And every day is a learning experience, right? So, for me, it's been about knowing what works and what doesn't work, what the customer wants, and learning, how to take a fairly complex and abstract topic like technology and turn it into a business conversation. One of the things that we try to focus on here is that, while ultimately our entire business is based on ones and zeros, we try to focus on people, whether it be, Mary, who sits at the front desk, or, Jane, who's processing insurance claims, or, whichever. But those are the people that are actually doing the work. They're the ones that are, interacting with the systems that we support. And ultimately, those are the ones that are getting the work done for the company. So, having some experience on the business side, I think, has helped us to really understand our customers better, and provide them with a better experience overall.
You mentioned a lot of your team there for a few minutes. Mary at the front desk, as you said, and on your website, one of your lead slogans is "Powered by People."
Correct.
How do you encourage your staff? How do you keep your staff up to date with the skill set?
So I'm passionate about staying current. A lot of the leads that come to us, whether they be a cyber breach or, just we need to go in a different direction, what's out there, come as a result of the folks that are taking care of those systems becoming stale. And in our space, things move very, very fast. I don't have to tell you, right? If we were trying to talk about AI 5 years ago, I don't really think anyone would listen, and now everybody's ears are perked up, right? So it is a moving target, and so it's really, really important, and we stress it across the board with everyone, to stay current. We provide educational reimbursement, so classes from vendors like Cisco or Microsoft, Palo, Fortinet, those guys. So we encourage everyone to attend classes when they're available, to attain certifications, to continue to advance themselves. And we do a lot of work around career pathing for our team. So we're very proud of the fact that we have a couple of engineers that started as help desk folks that were as green as my front lawn when they came in, and are now providing higher level services.
Sure.
That I think is rewarding, and it pays dividends too, because it creates not only continuity with the employees and the teams, but it also creates continuity with the customer.
And it creates that reassurance, right? It's the client is reassured that you have the skill set to accommodate whatever those needs are, right?
That's correct. Yeah, it's ultimately you want to be able to solve their problems, right? They may not understand what the problem is, but they need to feel comfortable that if they come to you with some sort of a technical challenge, that you're going to be able to work through it and bring them out the other end, in good condition.
You said something a few minutes there that I want to focus on. You said that sometimes a client doesn't really know what they need. So if I was a potential client coming to you and saying, "Rick, I need something, but I don't know what it is. I know that we have to deal with cybersecurity, but I know nothing about cybersecurity." How do you guide a client like that?
Yeah, so that's part of the discovery process with the client, and it's something that we have worked a lot on, and we continue to work on. Again, it's an area of continuous improvement for us, but we try to gather as much information as we can up front, and I think it's really important to talk to folks at all levels of the company, not just the technical folks, but the business folks, all the way down to the knowledge workers. I'll give you a great example. We do some work in the voice space, and sometimes you'll meet with business unit leaders and managers, and they will give you very detailed call flow, and this is how things work, and this is how we expect it to work, and then you have a meeting with the receptionist who by and large knows more about the phone system usually than anyone else. And that person will tell you, no, that's not how it works at all, right? So it's really important for us to talk to as many of the stakeholders as we can at all different levels. And then we try to form a picture, and we look for, where the opportunities are to make the most immediate improvements and most substantial improvements, then we work from there.
Okay. From starting this conversation with you, it's very evident, at a very, very young age for yourself, getting involved in technology to where you are today, and the company that you've built, very successful company. One of the questions I have to ask is, there are so many other MSPs and providers in the United States alone. What makes you different from any of the others?
Yeah, I think that the biggest difference for us is our approach. So we're a business first approach. Technology to us is just a tool to ultimately attain a particular business goal, right? So how can we help you to get there? And for us, having a big bench, a broad team of talented engineers, those are just additional tools in the toolbox. Our vendor relationships, for example, our platform capabilities are all tools in the toolbox that we can draw on to, ultimately advance the client's business.
Okay. And I know that a lot of businesses nowadays are asking about AI. You mentioned it earlier, right? We could talk for hours upon hours upon this. It's a growing industry, and it's a growing area where there's uncertainty. You are actually speaking at an event in November, right? Can you tell us a bit about what that event is?
Yeah, so I'll be speaking at CVX, Channel Vision Expo in Scottsdale. For us, we've been at the event each year since its inauguration. It's been a great event for us, run by great folks, and we've met a lot of great people there. So it is a channel-focused event. So we'll be out there looking for and meeting with existing partners. And honestly, talking to folks about best practices, how best to deliver, increasingly complex services to business owners nationwide.
Sure, and I know about the event, but I wanted to get your perspective of it. You're also going to be having a booth there, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So, and that's great. So, the MSPA will be there as well. So if any of our viewers now in the future pop by that event, please go visit Rick. Great guy to speak to, very, very knowledgeable. If you're just looking for some sort of information, just go have a chat with him. He'll also be on stage speaking in an MSP panel, which is going to be kind of interesting for a lot of MSP folks, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm happy to share, what we've learned over the years. But also smart enough to know how much we don't know. And so, events like this give us the opportunity to network with others that are, similar businesses as us, and learn from them as well. So, awesome. Really excited about it.
Yeah, we were very excited as well. Rick, we have about 2 minutes left in this. Before we do close, one last question. Your team, obviously based in Florida, do you operate through the entire United States, or are you focused on a particular region?
We do operate nationally. So we have customers in most of the 48 states. We're not in Alaska or Hawaii. We have some customers throughout the Caribbean as well, and some that have some presence of some sort in Europe. So we're kind of a little bit of a different company in that we're sort of a hybrid MSP, but also a service provider, meaning we run and operate our own telco platform, our own cloud services platform. And so we have a lot of partners. And so we look to partner with other MSPs on a nationwide basis to deliver services in areas that, perhaps we're not in. And, again, looking for those relationships that are win-win for everybody involved.
Okay, great. We're about to close here, but before we do close, are there any closing comments you want to say to our viewers?
Well, first and foremost, I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. Yeah, I would just say, look for some great things from C3 in the future. We have an acquisition that we just closed that we'll be announcing here very shortly, and
Awesome.
the San Juan, Puerto Rico office actually just opened, less than a month ago. So, yeah, and then later this fall, hopefully in time for this Channelvision, the CV Expo show, we'll be announcing general availability of our full-time SOC that is staffed internally. So
that's awesome. Wow, I look forward to that news.
Very excited.
Rick, thanks so much for the time today. Again, very insightful. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your commitment to the MSP community. Anyone who's watching, please reach out to Rick. Find him on LinkedIn. Find him through the MSPA. If you struggle to reach or get a hold of Rick, please reach out to us and we will gladly connect you. Rick, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Dave. I really appreciate it.
You too. Have a great day.
You too, sir.